Today on Sports Central, we're going over a college football game preview and prediction on a big matchup coming up in Week 15. And this is going to be between Coastal Carolina and Troy, two teams of which who have done pretty well this season, especially Coastal Carolina has probably had the best season in their program's history. They're now 10-0, and they're coming off of a big win against BYU. Meanwhile, for Troy, they got a 5-5 record right now. They're on the verge of making it to a bowl game. They just need to win this game, and they've got a guaranteed bid in a bowl game. So this is going to be a huge game for them as well. We're going over a full game preview and prediction on this one here today, starting out with your team trends. Of course, Coastal Carolina beat BYU last week 22-17. That was an insane game. I mean, that was a great matchup between both those two teams, and it was great that we were able to see that matchup because, I mean, obviously both teams did not have a game last week prior, and for both those teams to be able to set up that matchup was really good, I think, for both teams. Not as much for BYU now, considering that they're a one-loss team, but still, I mean, that was a huge win for Coastal Carolina. That's probably going to put them into the top 15 of the rankings, I would assume, when the cultural playoff rankings come out tonight. So, yeah, for Coastal Carolina, that's a very good win there. Meanwhile, for Troy, they absolutely shut out South Alabama. 29-0 was the final score there. So for Troy, they played very well last week too. And honestly, both teams coming into this matchup are looking pretty good. Troy, of course, is 5-5 with a one-game winning streak. Coastal Carolina, of course, is ranked 11th in the nation. According to the AP poll, they're 10-0 with a 10-game winning streak. I mean, so Coastal Carolina, has to take a loss. I mean, they're one of 4 teams in the FBS that is still undefeated, so that's something to definitely be proud of if you're on the Coastal Carolina side heading into this matchup. This game's going to be on Saturday, December 12th, 3 p.m. Eastern Time in Troy, Alabama. So we will be seeing Troy's the home team here. Spread currently says Coastal Carolina by 12. ESPN FPI's got Coastal Carolina 81%. Biggest prediction also going with Coastal Carolina here, 42-27 being the current projected final score. So, yeah, Coastal Carolina is favored in all 3 areas here, which is not much of a surprise considering that they're 10-0 in comparison to Troy's 5-5. But don't get me wrong, Troy is still a good team. I think Troy could easily make this game a close one. Here's your stat comparison for this game. Coastal Carolina's got 37 points per game, 16 points allowed. They got 212 passers a game, 227 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, they got 187 passing and then 142 rushing. As for Troy, they got 26 points per game, 24 points allowed. They got 283 passers a game, 104 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, they got 228 passing and then 165 rushing. So really, I mean, if you look at the stats on both sides here, Coastal Carolina just has a better version of Troy's. I mean, Coastal Carolina is a much bigger rushing team, though, that's for sure. I mean, if you look at the rushing core on the Coastal Carolina side, I mean, they've got their top running back who's got over 700 yards on the season with 10 touchdowns, so he's been playing very well. And, of course, for Troy, I mean, if you look at this Troy team, they've been more of a passing team this season. I mean, they got Watson, of course, who's their quarterback. 1,800 yards is what he's put up on the season, 15 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Meanwhile, for Coastal Carolina, they got McCall, of course. He's also had a good season. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's also been a quarterback to watch out for, and he's definitely been, I'd probably say, the best quarterback in the Sun Belt. But he's put up 1,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, and only 1 interception on the season. Very impressive out of McCall to only have 1 interception through 10 games. I mean, most quarterbacks can't even hope to do that. I mean, even some of the best quarterbacks have to throw at least 2 or 3 interceptions through the season, and he's on pace to only throw 1 or 2, which is very impressive out of him on the season. That's a big reason why Coastal Carolina has been so good on offense, is because they haven't been committing many turnovers. That's been a huge positive for Coastal Carolina, is the turnover rate is very, very low for them. That's going to be huge for them moving forward, especially if they can keep that going. Looking at your key points for this one, Coastal Carolina obviously coming off of a big win against BYU. That was huge for them, definitely the signature win of the season for Coastal Carolina, and that's going to be one that they're definitely going to look back on for quite a while, I can tell you that much. Meanwhile, for Troy, they've been an inconsistent team, but they have some good wins down the stretch. So Troy, I mean, even though Troy is definitely not the best team in the nation, I mean, they've got 5 wins, and they've kept it close against some pretty decent teams. Like, they shut out South Alabama last week. I mean, they blew out Arkansas State a few weeks ago, which, I mean, Arkansas State is halfway decent, so that was a good win for Troy there. But, I mean, they have had a couple of bad losses, too. They got destroyed by Appalachian State, and they also took a loss to Georgia Southern, lost to Middle Tennessee, but all those games were pretty close. So, I mean, Troy is very close to being possibly a 7 or 8 win team. They just have been on the wrong side of the stick for a lot of those. But, I mean, Troy is still a good team. I think Coastal Carolina needs to really watch out for this game because, like, Troy can come to play. I think this game is, definitely a scary one for Coastal Carolina here. But in the end, how this game matters for both these teams, I mean, Coastal Carolina has obviously clinched a spot in the Sun Belt Championship game. It's just a matter of whether or not they can win it for 1, and for 2, whether, they can make it to a New Year's Six bowl game. So there's a New Year's Six bowl game on the line for Coastal Carolina here. I mean, there still is a chance that they can make it to 1. I mean, they just got to win out from here on out, that's for sure. And they also got to be very dominant over their opponents. So for Coastal Carolina, I mean, you don't just want to win this game. You want to blow out Troy, because if you can blow out Troy here, that's going to put you in a good position for the New Year's Six bowl games, because that's going to be a pretty tight situation there for Coastal Carolina. I mean, it's going to be close. I mean, I'm not projecting Coastal Carolina to make it to a New Year's Six bowl game as of now, but there definitely is still a chance. If they can keep winning very convincingly, there is a chance that we do see Coastal Carolina in a New Year's Six bowl game. But as for Troy, I mean, they've got a bowl game on the line. You definitely want to make it to a bowl game if you're Troy here. So yeah, that's why this game is so important for them as well. So both teams do expect to be very motivated for this matchup. But in the end, here's what I'm expecting. I've got Coastal Carolina getting the win here in a moderate scoring one. I think Troy hangs on for the majority of this one. I think Coastal Carolina ends up winning it by 10 in the end, but it's going to be very close. I don't think Coastal Carolina wins very convincingly here. I think they're going to really, I mean, if you look at how they played against BYU, I mean, sometimes you see out of these teams that have a huge upset win, I mean, the next week can be a little bit sluggish, and I think Coastal Carolina does or will get kind of a case of that. And I think they're still going to get the win, 70% chance that we do see Coastal Carolina get a win here, but it's going to be a little bit close. 30-20 is going to be the final score. It's going to be 17-13 at the half. We're going to see Coastal Carolina lead for the majority of this one, I think, but in the end, it's still going to be pretty close. But I've got Coastal Carolina winning. They're just the better team all around. They've been playing better all season long, and I think that they're still going to be very motivated considering a New Year's Six bowl game is at risk here. But let me know your thoughts and comments below on this matchup. Let me know your score predictions, all of that down in the comments. I appreciate you guys all sticking around. If you enjoyed this previous up, a like on it, subscribe as well, as it really helps with the channel. I'd really appreciate that. But once again, thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central, and I'll see you on the next one.